Today's Madge Unmuted, we're going to talk about putting things in places they shouldn't go. No, we're not. We're talking about things that we shouldn't talk about. Like, not necessarily like that, but, subject matter people don't always talk about. And we're going to reveal some things about ourselves. So, I don't know. Just if you stay tuned and listen, you'll find out what the hell we're talking about on today's Madge Unmuted. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Madge Unmuted. I am your hostess, Madge, and look at where I'm at. I'm on location with Fitz. So nice to be back with you in the same room.
Yes, it was a lovely surprise that Madge just breezed through town.
That's what I do.
Yes, she's just, there goes. What is it?
I'm kind of unpredictable as of late. That's kind of what my MO is, Well, I'm on the road. I'm doing lots of traveling. I'm a bit of a nomad now. So I had to go to Fairhaven, and so I said I'm going to stop.
So you're going to stop and let me bang out a podcast on my way to Fairhaven.
Exactly. So that's what Madge Unmuted is going to be. It's going to be something different every week. Speaking of, so today's topic, I was watching some reality shows, and they were bitching all these women bitching about, you don't tell too much of your personal life, and that's what it's supposed to be. This show's supposed to be about.
They're bitching to you?
Yes, me directly. Like, no, I'm talking. They're bitching to each other on the show.
Oh, on the show, yeah. Stupid question.
So they're bitching to each other on the show, and they're like, well, you don't talk about your life, and it's like, well, if I had this shit going on in my life, I wouldn't want to talk about this on camera. Some stuff you just shouldn't. Like, you can...
Yeah, TMI.
Right. So, like, this lady was talking, she's going through divorce, and they're like, well, you're not telling the truth. And it's like, oh, and then they were telling her, well, you're talking about it too much. And I was like, oh, yeah, that. Because you got two kids that are like 7 and 9, and she's just bad-mouthing her soon-to-be ex. And
so the kids can hear her talking smack about their father.
Right.
Yeah.
Either whether they hear it now or later or whatever.
Right.
And it's like...
just bad form.
You don't... Right. Exactly. Yeah. So it was just like, just shut the fuck up. So anyway, what I was thinking about was like stuff that you should talk about and don't talk about. Which is, what are the things that we don't talk about that we should talk about? What are the things that we talk about that maybe we shouldn't? So anyway... Something I was going to tell you, part of me, I've had a struggle for a long time of, I don't want to talk about that on camera. That's my personal life. But other people will tell me, no, you should talk about that. That's interesting. And I'm like, I don't know. So what I've got something that's going on. It's very exciting. It's going to be Chapter 82 of Madge's Life as a Hallmark Movie. Starting in the middle of June, I'm going to be living part-time in Stamford, Connecticut.
Stamford, Connecticut?
Yes.
Wow. Stamford,
Connecticut, and the greater New York City area.
Wow. That's cool.
So I've been wanting to for a long time. I've been wanting to live in the New York City area since I was a kid. Mm-hmm. Like, literally, we used to go visit my grandmother and all other things, so I wanted to be there forever. And I've been thinking about for a while, like, how do I, because all three of my kids are there. Some people know this, some people don't. My three kids that are 32, 29, 27. The two girls live together in Stamford, and my son lives in Queens. And I had moved back to my hometown of Dunkirk, New York, near Buffalo.
Dunkirk.
2 years ago now.
Wow.
In April, and as it did some healing or comfort or whatever the fuck it was, made me make a lot of money selling my house in Rochester because I knew I wanted to get out of Rochester. No offense, but I had nothing left.
None taken.
Yeah. I just didn't. I was kind of done. My kids moved away.
Yeah. Why are you here? Yeah.
Right. So I had been looking, like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to buy a house? I'm going to do this. I'm going to get an apartment. Did you know I could have easily bought an apartment? The apartments are like very reasonable price. Oh, until you get to the monthly HOA. The monthly
They rape ya.
HOA costs as much, if not more, than the mortgage payment.
That's ridiculous.
It's fucking insane. Like, I could have bought a fixer-upper 1-bedroom condo for like 180, 170, 180. The HOA fees are like $600 a month. I mean, so anyway, so I'm like, pedaling. Or no, what am I doing? What do you call it? What is this?
Treading water.
Thank you. I'm pedaling in the water. I'm treading water, and all of a sudden my daughters say, "Well, at the end of May or whatever, they have a 3-bedroom first floor of a house, beautiful house, very roomy, in Stamford, and they're like, she's moving out to go to grad school." And you had said once, if you could like pay us some money to live here part time. And I'm like, well, yeah, that would be. And they're like, well, it would do us, a favor. So, because we can't find anybody and we don't know. And now Abby might move eventually to Boston, And I was like, well, shit, that's perfect, So anyway, we're starting Madge's next big adventure.
So how is that? How long are you going to be there, and how many times are you going to come back? And you're still going to have your place in Dunkirk?
Yeah, for now we're going to see. I mean, we're going to see what pans out. But I think that's a perfect plan.
Yeah,
that's because cool. I may get there and I may hate it.
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so.
No, I love it every time I go there, or I may decide, I may get some huge opportunity. They're like, Madge, we want to pay $1 million a year to host a talk show.
There you go.
Okay.
Stanford tonight.
Exactly. We want you to replace Jimmy Fallon. Yeah. So,
I think Trump wants you to replace Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, my God. I want to replace Trump. I don't want to be in it. I just want to get rid of him. Anyway, things we don't talk about. But anyway, it's just crazy. I'm so tired. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted of finding some new fucking insane thing every time I wake up. Anyway, so hold, please.
What is it? Money, politics, and religion? Those are the things you don't talk about?
Yes, exactly.
Everybody talks about anyway?
So the thing I was talking about, or thinking about, that we don't talk about, so this woman talking about her
personal
divorce.
Oh, her divorce.
Yeah. And then they were bitching at the other woman because she doesn't talk about enough about her divorce. Okay, I will just tell you, I'm talking about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Now, mind you, I know that most of this shit isn't real. Okay? I mean, it's
fabricated.
It's based in truth, but it's there's a lot of it is scripted in the way that, okay, you're gonna have your friend Erica come over to your house and we're gonna discuss this, or now you're gonna have a party and you're gonna invite these people. Meanwhile, they had no intentions of having it. That just this shit is just.
They put them in the situations because they know it's going to be drama.
Yeah.
There's going to be a conflict or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. More than once, they've had somebody that's been like gone through divorce and they're starting to date, and they'll get on this various women they'll get on this shit about, you're not talking about your personal life. Well, for one, this dude or this woman does not want to be a part of this show. They don't want to be on the show. They don't want to be on camera.
The significant other.
Yeah, new person. Or they've only gone out like on 2-3 dates with this person. They're not.
Yeah, they shouldn't be talking about that because they bring up this person and then it doesn't work out. And now what happened to that person? And then there's another person.
Right. Yeah. They'll say like, well, I've just been, hanging out with this person for like a month. Well, you should introduce. No, No, I don't know what's going on with this person yet. There's not anything going on with this person yet. We don't know where it's going to go. I don't know. That's the shit that drives me nuts. But then it got me thinking, okay, but what? Well, this is another thing. What are they contracted to do? Oh, what was that?
Hello?
Peter Brady.
Oh, my God.
Going through the change.
Yeah.
Are they contracted? Supposed to, like this one woman finally came to light once she broke up with her husband. She was dating a woman. And the woman wanted nothing to do with the show and didn't want to whatever. But this woman took it so far. This is Kyle. She took it so far that she wouldn't even say if she was getting divorced or if she was separated or if she was dating anyone or if she even liked women. Or
what the hell would she talk about?
Right. Nothing.
Yeah.
You weren't allowed to open your mouth about anything, which...
Why is she even on the show?
Right. But on Instagram in real life...
It's all over the place.
Right. So there's this hypocrisy in reality TV, which, which begs the question, why call it reality TV?
Well, I mean, the people have been asking that for years.
Right.
Since the invention of it.
Right. Yeah. And so I've also noticed that reality TV is once again changing. I've seen a thing on social media where now people are... It's so funny how it just started out as somebody being on TikTok and making small snippets about telling stories from their life. Now they're calling that a reality show. Like short attention span theater.
Seriously.
I don't know how.
So are they doing like the TikTok format but doing it on like cable TV or something?
No.
Or on...
No, they're doing it on social media.
So it's just on social media, but they're calling it reality show.
Yeah. But I guess because it's on YouTube also, which...
But it's also on TikTok.
Right. And on Instagram.
So I guess you can call whatever you do, whatever you want.
Right.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, like one of my favorite shows, well, kind of the pioneer of this, Revival of the Fittest. I've talked about it before. Mm-hmm. And even in their handle on... excuse me, on what do you call that thing there? Social media, they call it
Instagram.
They call it Revival of the Fittest TV is their handle, which it kind of randomly suddenly stopped, but I think they had some issues at the record store with like the ceiling leaking.
Oh, that's the one where they're at the record store just talking to...
Right.
Okay.
Right. So they started calling that, and now I'll notice there's other people that have kind of started this thing. And I thought about doing that, but one, I told you this a few minutes ago, I don't know that I'm that interesting. I have a hard time saying, I mean, I will tell some stories, but now bringing it back around about the things we don't talk about. There's a lot of fucking stories I could tell you, but I don't know if it's...
But you don't know if they're appropriate?
Right. And, I'm too worried about who's going to get upset. Who am I going to offend? Mostly my kids. Like, I tell you all sorts of stories about my marriage, but my kids now have a relationship with their dad again after many years not. Yeah, so, and I don't want to fuck that up.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that a lot of people do when they pursue that kind of a thing, is that they either have to throw that out the window and say, you know what, I'm doing this for me, and if somebody gets hurt, too freaking bad.
Right.
Or they don't. And that's
that's
really
how
hard.
I feel. Like every time somebody comes out with a new book and it's this tell-all, they are just telling all the dirt on somebody. And I'm like, are you worried about that person? Like, did you have to in a lawyerly fashion, did you have to run that by the person?
They do have, the publishers do have to fact check those things.
Like if I said, oh, I was dating this guy and he loved me to peg him. How are they going to fact check that?
Yeah. they a lot of times they would contact the person and say, this is what was said in the book. I'm not in the publishing industry, so I don't know, but I'm basing that on like when they would write a story for a Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing. So I'm assuming, but I've also seen tell-all memoirs where the people that they were talking about denied it all.
Exactly.
So, but did they sue them? No.
Right.
So if they didn't sue them, then it must be true to some extent.
That was the thing I was just going to say. Because, like, look at all the stuff that, not to go there, but this person's got so much crap. Trump. Mm-hmm. He wants to sue. He's suing somebody every other day.
He doesn't win any of the suits.
And he doesn't. Well, he won like one against the New York Times or some shit. I don't know. But that's, but he doesn't win. However, there's been loads and loads and loads and loads of people come out with things about him and the Epstein files.
Right.
Has he sued once?
No. And he can't, because the problem with that, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is that if he does, that means that these people have to be witnesses and they have to testify, and it's going to bring more crap out.
Yep. They have to do discovery.
Yeah.
Which means they have to dredge through all that shit.
Yeah. And yeah. It's a dirty business.
It is.
It's a dirty business.
But anyway, that's why, we're going to talk about it. Are we?
I thought, when you said things that we don't talk about or that we shouldn't talk about, I worked with a person who would always come in and talk about their most recent medical problem. And a lot of times it was kind of like, so I got this rash on the, in between my legs, like on my thighs. That's and it's kind of like, and I'd be like, why are you telling me this? I don't want to know. Like, I was up all last night with the squirts. It was so bad. I shat in my bed. I had to go in the shower and shit in the shower because I could, and it's like, don't tell me that.
Yeah.
Please don't tell me that.
Okay. You're doing it right now. Don't tell me that. Okay. Decorum. That's one thing. Yeah. Decorum, but also it's just a fucking downer. I don't want to hear about your medical issues. Oh my God. Speaking of, a quick aside. Everything's a quick aside, right? So, hearing about your stuff. There's people on TikTok that make a career out of something shitty that happened to them, and they just go on and on, and I mean for like years. Like,
it's bad energy. How do you live day to day with that energy and then make money off that energy?
Yeah,
that's terrible.
But also, like, you and I can talk about this one because you can give me your view on this. But real quick, this one woman lately is talking about how her husband, she thinks her husband was having an affair with her daughter, which would have been the step. Yeah. So this is like her second or third husband. And she is every day telling the story about how they were in cahoots and they've got a restraining order against her. And it's her saying how they're the devil and they tricked her out, all this stuff. But like, if anybody with half a brain is watching, it's like, oh no, this bitch is a narcissist and with a victim complex that's taking this shit all the way to the bank and telling these stories because she knows people, it's juicy.
And people love that. People that eat that up.
Right. And I'm just like, I can't.
You should just get on TikTok and make shit up.
Well, I thought about that. I actually did.
Make up a fake person and start making up all these things that person's doing to you.
There are people that do that.
I'm sure there are.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people that manufacture shit. But so But also, one, I can't. I don't know how you could live in that mess day after day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like our good friend Amy White would say, sometimes you just feel like you're in a vat of shit, but that doesn't mean you should unpack your bags and live there.
Right.
And that's how I feel. Like I could go on. I had a brief career of talking about my divorce, but that was like 2005, and so I realized after a point, I don't want this to be my identity. I can't talk about this. And there's some people like, oh, I just thought of a real life example. Well, two real. Okay. Let me ask you about yours first. What do you're sober, correct? And you're okay with talking about that?
Yeah.
Okay. That is another thing of like, some people want to talk about it, some people don't, whatever.
Yeah.
Some people live that shit. Like that's all they ever talk about.
Right.
And I'm not shitting on sober people. I have a problem with somebody that is a one note wonder that of anything, and that's all they talk about.
Yeah.
And it's especially if it's something that was an adverse
adversity.
Thank you.
Something that they overcame.
Yeah, right. It was an adversity that they overcame that perhaps at one time was a bit of a bummer, and then they just talk about it nonstop.
I mean, there are people who have made a career out of that, and they do it. They go on the public speaking circuit,
right.
and they talk about like people who beat addiction or beat are now sober or something like that. And I think there's the type of person that does that and then tries to impart their wisdom on other people who are trying to go down the same path. That's one thing. But then there's the other thing, there's the people that just talk about it all the time, but they don't do anything else.
Yes. Okay.
They don't try to parlay that into anything other than this is what I did.
And I'm going to tread lightly here. Speaking of things we don't want to talk about, my ex-husband was a very angry alcoholic.
Yeah.
There was some, I hate to use the word domestic violence because sometimes that can be, but anyway, there was, verbal abuse, pushing and shoving, all kinds of other, emotional control, blah, blah, blah. And, and that's another thing. Like, I hate to say that because of my kids. However, it happened. So I wrote a book, and now it's been so damn long. I wrote a book in 2013, and I guess I must have touched on it. I mean, because I did. I had to get out of this, because his alcoholism was getting worse, and he was getting nastier. So I got out of this, and I had somebody approach me and asked me they wanted me to help with their organization that addressed this domestic violence. And I was like, oh, this is great. And this was 15 years ago, something like that. So I was like, oh, yes, I would love to address. I was still like in my healing stage, Yeah, I would like to help. Well, this person literally told me that it was weighing on me. It was sucking the life out of me. At first I thought it was a good thing, but like working 40 hours a week in this subject matter
it's not for everybody.
No. It was so draining and so, and I was like, this is just not for me. And this person was overly enthusiastic about this subject, so much so that they got mad at me and said, you're just not excited enough about it.
Yeah.
And they said, I eat, sleep, and breathe this thing. And now this person had gone through it, and they were like, I eat, sleep, and breathe this thing. And I'm so excited to get out of bed every day, and you should be too. And I'm like,
That's not fair.
No, that's not fair. Why? Who are you? You know, but they treated me. You know, it would have been one thing if they would have said, "Look, I can tell you can't live in this day to day." You know, because I was by myself trying to raise my 3 kids, and it was just like Debbie Downer every fucking day. And you know, I wanted to help, but at the same time, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't move in and unpack my stuff here. And that person was so mean and acted like I was
a terrible person because you didn't want to
terrible person,
join
a
in
slacker, a ne'er-do-well, or whatever. And instead of just saying, "Look, I get it. This isn't for everybody," but it also made me think, like, I don't know if what you're doing is the healthiest thing either.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how they're living in that space. You know, I mean, if you're working in that space to help others out of it and to show them how to move on, but are you really moving on if you're constantly living?
Thing. That was what the light bulb went off in my head, is that this person has made it their identity. And
that's
they
a
are
really
not moving on.
That's a really interesting kind of thing, because it's like, I know when I was early in my sobriety, I was doing the 12-step meetings. I was going to AA, and then I got to a point where it just wasn't doing it for me anymore. I didn't need to go because I'd already heard every story, and there's people that when they get sober, meetings are their new addiction.
Yes,
they have to go to meetings.
Thank you.
And I'm not like saying that that's a bad thing necessarily, because if it helps them stay sober, yes. But at some point, you know what I mean? At some point, I couldn't do it.
You're right, and I want to say that too. Whatever helps, but you know, and I had gone to some. What's the Al-Anon? For the
family members. Yeah.
Family members. When my ex, when we were still married, trying to get sober, even when we were separating, and I was trying to co-parent, and I couldn't do the meetings. I was like, I mean, I got like you. After a couple meetings, I'm like, oh, I've heard every story. They're all the same. You know, it just wasn't doing anything for me. But that's why, like anything, sobriety it's not a one size fits all.
Right.
And that's what sometimes I would get bummed out when there would be, I'm talking back in the day, like my grandmother was trying to get sober in the 70s. Some people would, like treat the 12 steps, like absolute Bible, absolute whatever, and you can't stray from it, whatever. And I'm like, and I remember back from the get-go thinking, how can this be a one size fits all?
Right.
But like you said, but then also I remember from this, excuse me, you made me think of it, learning from this, and just through like health class or psychology class in college, whatever, that there's, I don't know, they probably don't use this word anymore because it's not PC or whatever, but a dry drunk. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, it's someone who doesn't drink anymore, but they still have all the traits of an alcoholic.
Right.
They still have a lot of the behaviors.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was with someone like that. There was still the lying and still the manipulation, the lying, but also then the trade just going from another addiction.
Yeah.
Whether it was meetings or sex or
right.
whatever,
Right. Yep.
I had to get out of it. And of course there was some guilt. There was guilt with that. Like, oh, am I, I got out of it, so I'm fine. I'm just walking away. And it's like, I had to tell myself, no, that's not.
Yeah. Not everybody, when they get through something like that, is compelled to give back to that idea or to that cause.
Right.
Because they've moved on from it and they don't want to relive it.
Exactly.
And when you're going through and helping people to get through something to some degree, and I don't know if this is true for everybody, but for me, I would be reliving it.
Yes.
Constantly.
Exactly.
And I didn't want to do that. So that's why there's only a certain type of person that can do that.
Right.
That they can do it, help people through, but yet not relive it.
Right. Right. And that was my thing. I didn't want to relive it every day. And also that I was trying to raise 3 kids by myself. I had to move along. I had to move.
Yeah, you didn't have time.
I had to, right. Exactly. Oh, the other thing that would bother me is, and I think you and I discussed this before, about when somebody does, like, what's the word? Relapse.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say go off the wagon.
Yeah.
I'm 60. We used to use these
in the
things.
70s again.
Exactly. So, and people, like, if there's a like, Natasha Lyonne. The actress.
Yeah, the Russian doll.
Yeah.
Chick.
So she apparently had been, I don't know, on heroin a while back, whatever, and she'd been sober for a long time. And recently, everybody was showing these. I think she was on some red carpet, and she looked very out of it. And it happened more than once. So everybody, everywhere, Page 6 is all like, she's on something again. She's whatever, and like, I think that's so mean. I know to put it like so simply, but it's like, that person is trying. You know what? And I don't know how, I don't know if this might not be in this sobriety handbook. I don't know. I always thought it was so mean that, you get your, like, coin, you're like, your coin, and then you have one day of relapse and you got to start all over again. Is that how that goes?
I don't honestly know. I think that's how it goes. I look at it differently because I say, like, let's say if you've got a year of sobriety, mm-hmm. and then somebody in your family dies and you end up doing a couple of shots.
Right.
But then the next day you're like, I feel terrible. And then you don't drink again.
Exactly.
I don't necessarily think that you've relapsed. That might be wrong. That might not be correct.
That's my view too.
I feel like you had a problem, you caught yourself, because really, why are you drinking? You're self-medicating because that's what you've learned to do all these years, is try to self-medicate to help you, whatever, get through something. And you did it, and then you felt bad about it. You realized that that's not what you should be doing, and so then you moved on from there and you didn't do it again. Okay. I wouldn't necessarily call that a relapse. I would say that you had a hiccup.
Either.
You had a
exactly a glitch,
a trip up. I don't know. But again, in the recovery or the addiction community, I don't know what the correct analysis would be. Some people might say that that's a relapse and now you've started over, but I guess it depends on how you're counting. It's like if you're counting days sober.
Yeah.
Or if you're counting how your life is. Like, now I'm not, I had a couple of drinks, I got drunk, I woke up the next day, I felt bad about it. But in that time, I didn't steal from somebody, I didn't cheat on somebody, I didn't, whatever.
But also, doesn't it contradict, sorry, this is sober talk with me. But these are my questions, and these are things people don't talk about, and I'm curious about. But with the, this doesn't that kind of contradict though the motto of one day at a time, or people that say today I'm not going to drink?
Right. I see that. I can see the point you're making.
Yes, your goal is to not to, but it's like, okay, especially in the beginning, I've heard people, that are just like, look, I don't know, just for today, I'm not going to drink.
And because, that's
we'll
the whole
one
idea.
Day at a time.
Yeah. That's the whole idea. You're not going to, it's too much to try to think about tomorrow.
Right.
You have to think about right at the moment. And I understand the people who are going through that moment where they are so hooked on whatever that is that they're constantly thinking about it. and they've always been thinking about it.
Exactly.
I'm fortunate enough that I don't even ever think about it. Like, I don't think about it.
And that's the thing. That's great. There is such a wide spectrum.
Right.
From, I just don't like it. I'm never gonna, I
Right.
have no desire. Or, there's like, I can't function without it every single waking moment.
And those are the people that have to go to meetings because they need to be constantly in that environment that is keeping them from drinking.
Right.
And I get that. I totally get that.
But also maybe the people that are also have a component of, like mental health, or it's like these people have to be in a facility.
And that's
the life or death.
That's the root of a lot of this is the mental health stuff. And a lot of the people that find themselves in the throes of addiction really should be having some sort of medication or some sort of, therapy about the mental aspect of it and why they're doing that.
Right. I mean, yeah, some of it is such a...
Out of my pay grade.
All encompassing. And I've known people, like I know a guy that I went to high school with that he was Mr. Party guy all the time. Not like obnoxious, but it was just like, hey, we're all gonna go have a few beers. Well, we're having a few beers. We're having a few beers, and he's just like, nah. It just wasn't doing me any favors, so I just don't anymore. And sorry, and I'm like, how lucky are you?
Yeah, to be able to just make that call and just be like,
yeah,
not doing it.
Oh, this is what I was going to say, too. Sorry to cut you off. But there are people, too, that, like, I've watched them, again, reality people or people on whatever. People in real life. I've had this happen, too. They are like, I'm getting myself in trouble. I actually watched somebody I know go through this. I forgot. They're like, I'm just getting myself in trouble. It's not doing me any favors. I make bad decisions,
Yeah.
So, or they do a number of things. They drink, they smoke pot, and they do cocaine. And they're like, I'm not going to do the cocaine anymore, And then like, I'll just be, now I'm not gonna smoke the pot anymore. I'll just drink, or I'm not gonna drink anymore. I'll just be California sober,
right?
And it's like then I've seen them go through like, okay, yeah, I can't do anything.
Yeah, and like I don't have the California sober thing. I see THC products as different for me because it wasn't something I ever had a problem with. Right. That it was be like, wow, I was just getting high all the time. And if I get high, then I'm going to go on a bender and go.
Right.
It's just not the case. So it's like, it doesn't bother me if someone was like me and they were like, I had a couple of gummies last night and relaxed and watched the movie. Cool.
Yeah. Right, and that's what and also I knew a person that they quit drinking, and they're like, yeah, I don't have a problem. I can still go out, whatever. And they would go to the bar and they would order like 5 Red Bulls. Well, what does Red Bull do? It amps you up. You're basically getting So
yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to be a hypocrite, but I drink a shitload of these every day, and I'm actually trying to force myself to drink more water because, but one could argue that I traded it. It's not like I walked around with alcohol throughout the day.
Right.
So it's a little bit different, but it's still, I would classify this as an addiction. I drink a lot of these and I drink them because I like it.
Yeah.
I don't really notice that I drink it for like any kind of a caffeine buzz or anything like that, but I just like my Diet Mountain Dew. I'm a hillbilly at heart, I guess.
Okay, JD.
Clamp it?
No, Vance.
Oh.
Hillbilly allergy. Anyway.
Damn. Get me a nice couch.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, we're running out of time. Anyway, actually, we really are. But real quick, something you said. Oh, but, I've known people that they don't drink anymore, but they drink coffee all day long.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They have great breath, too, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Hey, why do they serve so much coffee at AA meetings,
Oh, yeah.
But 5 Red Bulls,
That's
like
a lot.
an
Red
hour
Bull's
outing, and that shit's horrible. But that's obviously you're not drinking 5 Mountain Dews in 15 minutes.
No.
Do you know what I mean? No. That had a purpose. That's to get a buzz. That's to get a
yeah. That's to get that
anyway
caffeine shock.
Right. However, I shouldn't and sugar.
But they don't do cocaine anymore, so that's good.
Exactly. That was my point. That was my point.
Yeah, you're just trading substances.
Exactly. There was a guy on one of my reality shows that did that. You know, he got off cocaine, but he was like chugging Red Bull like there's no tomorrow, and it's like, dude. Again, though. Not to, it's not a one size fits all. Do what you have to do. But I think that is a thing about, isn't that kind of a root of like, be honest with yourself?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's step one.
Yeah.
Step one is I have a problem. And I have no power over it. So
right.
if you can't at least acknowledge the fact, hey, I'm drinking a lot of coffee because I need the buzz.
Exactly. And there you have it.
Problem solved.
So
move over, Dr. Oz. No, keep going.
No, yeah,
keep
really.
Going. I don't like him. I don't like the guy.
Him followed Dr. Phil out the door.
Well, there was something that just came out recently about Dr. Oz that like a lot of the stuff that he said back then was like complete bullshit or something.
Yeah. There's
no scientific data to back up any of the shit that he said.
And there were also things that they kind of forced, he got forced to, from what I remember, he got forced to like get rid of his show as Dr. Phil because they were dispensing shit like they were an authority, and it come to find out Dr. Oz like he wasn't board certified and shit, and neither was Dr. Phil.
Dr. Phil.
And then I think they thought, oh, we're gonna put this really fast CGI graphic at the bottom. It says this can no be way in any kind of API financing. No, and
results not typical.
Exactly. Don't listen to shit we say. But yeah. So anyway, I don't know. What did I talk about? Anything I shouldn't be talking about? No.
Recently or in this?
No, in this
episode?
Conversation.
No.
I guess my kind of abusive home. But anyway.
But see, you're not. Here's the thing, though, with that, you're not going into details, right? You're not going into, and you're also not focusing the blame. You know what I mean? It's one thing if you say, hey, this happened.
Right.
This is what the situation was. It happened. It's another thing if you take 20 minutes to talk about how it affected you, how it affected the kids, what you felt, what you thought the motivation behind it was, all that kind of stuff. If you're talking about something that happened as opposed to talking about something that happened and saying he did it because he's an evil son of a bitch and da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
There's a little different thing there.
Right. And he did get sober.
Right.
And he's doing well. I don't know what he's like to live with.
Right. And that's.
Oh wait, can I tell you a quick aside? This is very quick. He also, I hate to say this too, but I think my kids know. He cheated on me the entire time I was pregnant with our third child.
Yeah, you've mentioned that before.
He moved out first time when she was 5 weeks old, and anyway, he. So he was having an affair with a woman at work. So, and I kept saying, look, just tell me. And LD, no, you're crazy. We end up moving to Denver. Like a whole year went by. We're trying to keep it going. Then we get divorced, whatever. Next thing I know, a year after this first started happening, she moves in with him out in Denver. So I'm like, oh, really? This never happened. Okay. So they get in a relationship. She moves in with him. They were together for a few years. He moves back here. I move back here. And, I didn't really have much to do with him. However, one day, I was with Jack, who was doing, we were at a doctor's office. The
mistress
woman, walks in. And I thought I had heard maybe through the kids that like, oh, maybe they were breaking up or they weren't living or because now all of a sudden he's living at grandpa's. I don't know. I tried to like not get in that. She comes up to me, and sorry, I'm going to say this because she knew when we were. She knew I was pregnant. She knew I had little kids. She knew everything. So she ain't off the hook. This bitch walks up to me and tries to be all like, oh yeah, now I know he was very violent with me.
Join the club.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't
tough
know.
shit.
We're not commiserating.
Yeah,
no,
right.
Sorry, we're not a club now. Sorry,
the ex-wives club.
Yeah, no, you walked right. Oh, she was trying to be, and God bless my son. He was in high school, and I could even he was doing we were at the, what do you call it, U of R physical therapy thing. So he's on some table doing some stretchy, and she's like trying to talk to me, and he's not facing her, and I'm saying, oh no, I don't want to talk about this at all, and he just is going. And he's like, and he's just kind of grinning, and he was just like, good job, Mom. And I was like, well, no, we're not commiserating about this now. Yeah, like I said, we are not a club. So you
now I know what you got. You must have went through.
Exactly.
Bullshit. Are you pregnant right now? Do you got little kids? You don't know a damn thing about what I was going through.
Exactly. And you knew goddamn
and you
well
knew what you were doing.
What you were doing.
Yeah.
So don't try and play victim. Oh, he hoodwinked me too. Fuck you. Sorry. Anyway, on this episode of Madge Unmuted, there's some shit that we don't talk about that I just talked about. So, see, I got some fun, juicy stuff,
Juicy.
Anyway, Fitz, thank you so much for letting me come in today and shoot.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, this was fun. I really fun. Well, yeah, it still was fun.
It was still fun. It was still fun.
We talk about this stuff. Anyway, everybody, thanks so much for joining me. Please subscribe while you're here, and like, subscribe, share.
All the good stuff.
Tell your friends, yes, and we will see you next week on the next episode of Madge Unmuted.